Hey, welcome back to the Car Doctor Studios here in Donor Automotive's repair shop in Anchorage, Alaska. Appreciate you stopping by. My name's Tim, and today is Subaru Day. Anchorage, Alaska is home to the most Subarus per capita. It's actually the state car of Alaska. Anchorage's Subaru dealer is touted as the largest Subaru dealership in gross sales for years now. So they're a great car for up here. People love how they handle the snow and the adverse conditions in Alaska. But since we see them a lot in the shop, I thought I'd go over just some common problems that we see with Subarus. Okay, over here I got an 01 Subaru Outback. This has the 2.5 single overhead cam. And over here for your viewing enjoyment, in Bay 2, we have a 2010 Subaru Forester. This Forester is also equipped with a 2.5 liter single overhead cam engine and an automatic transmission. Okay, so the 2010 has about 98,000 miles on it and change, and the 01 has about 200 and just shy of 250,000 miles. So it's no spring chicken, and this video is not about some kind of rant about all the stuff that's bad about Subarus. This is about, hey man, this is what I run into. We're in Anchorage, Alaska. I'm 25 plus year tech, master mechanic working on cars, man. I don't know, but the people that are gonna come on here and start slamming me for this and that and try to discredit me should do their homework and, be real. This is just stuff I run into. I'm not the definitive resource. There's guys in town that do just Subarus. I do all makes and models, but this is what I've run into over the last 10 years. They're a great car. I would recommend this car. If this is a car that serves your purposes and it's in your price range, I think it's a great car. Let's look at the things that you're gonna need to plan for down the road. There's some maintenance that's gonna be necessary. It's with any car, but the Subarus are special. They're a special car for special people like you. So that's what this video is about, but haters gonna hate. You know, one of the biggest things, I'll just tag onto this right here. One of the biggest problems with Subarus are the owners. Sorry guys, man, this is gonna really stir up some stuff. When I'm at a stoplight and some WRX pulls up next to me with some big intercooler and some big turbo on it, and their pop-off valve is going pop, pop, pop next to me, and I think I'm involved in a drive-by shooting or something. It's giving me PTSD, post-traumatic Subaru disorder. If you care for these cars, you don't overly modify them and put this lowering kit and fry the whole suspension and wear your tires out, and you take care of it, maintain it well, it's going to serve its purpose well. This is a great small car. They handle great, and it's something I would feel safe putting my kids in and maintaining and getting out on the roads. So I don't see the cars when they're under warranty, so the first few years I don't tend to see them. I'm not going to act like I know what I'm talking about, but up till about 2010, 2011, the head gaskets problems existed. I believe at that point they've corrected the issue, and it's no longer going to be a problem. Yes, the dealer stood behind some of those earlier head gasket failures. I don't really know that they're still doing that. I'll give some more information here about head gasket failures and my recommended service. Hey, if you're going to do it right. You can spend somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to do it right, and that's going to include doing machine work in the heads, doing your valve guides, surfacing them flat, doing head bolts and gaskets, timing belt, water pump, and everything, and just do it right. Why waste your money? Do that, and then you'll get another 90, 100,000 miles out of it. Make sure your coolant's good, use the additive that they call for, and you'll extend the life of the service of your vehicle. I use the Felpro gaskets. It's what I use and what works for me. I'm sure a lot of other people come on here and talk about the MSI gaskets or whatever, or Subaru OE. I go with Felpro, and I've had really good luck. I don't have return issues, and my customer's been happy with the work. So the front headlight bulbs always burn out on these cars. The low beam headlamp bulb burns out and they're not fun to replace. But we have developed a process that does not require removal of the whole bumper cover, but in fact the front tire, and then pull back this panel behind here. I'll drop a link to that video in the description of this video. This '01 Outback came in with the customer complaining of an illuminated check engine light in a misfire condition. Okay, let's pull the codes on this one. Upon retrieving the codes, found a code P0302 and P0301. Cylinders 1 and 2 share the same coil on this distributorless ignition system. So every time I see P0301 and 2, it's not necessarily the case, but it's highly likely that it's part of the coil that's gone dead. Go ahead and start the vehicle. You notice the misfire is present, as in this case. Just use a pair of insulated pliers to remove each wire off the coil. Still sparking there on number 2. Try number 1. This is either a bad wire, bad plug, or a bad coil. Possibly the coil shorted underneath here, but you don't see a spark here, whereas we saw one on this side. All right, quick rundown on misfire problems associated with these vehicles. You may encounter this particular issue, which is pretty straightforward, bad coil, but you also got to keep in mind the rest of the secondary ignition components, including wires, which tend to get oil soaked when the valve cover gaskets begin to leak, and they deteriorate away and then have misfire problems there. The spark plugs, you always want to use OE. If they wear to the point where the electrode's worn off, you could develop a misfire there. Also, exhaust valve guides tend to drop out of these things, causing problems. You also have compression related issues. A cylinder compression test and a visual inspection of the exhaust valve guides will indicate problems there, and which may involve removing the heads and doing a cylinder head overhaul. We also can't rule out the possibility of fuel side causing a misfire condition, pulsing to the injectors, or actually an injector itself failing. But if you do see cylinder 1 and 2 misfiring simultaneously, remember it's that shared ignition coil on that waste spark system, and that's first place to go and look. I'm using this CarQuest. It's actually a standard replacement coil, and it's a pretty quick fix. Just disconnect our spark plug wires, set those aside, disconnect the electrical connector, and remove the 3 attaching bolts. And there we go. So we'll go ahead and put our replacement coil on. Okay, let's start this thing up and see how it runs. Looks like it's running smooth. Let's look at the spark again. There we go. All better. Now we just need to clear the codes and go take this thing for a test drive. All right, like I said, I'll go ahead and take this thing out and take it for a good test drive, confirm the repairs have been successful. But I think this is another Subaru success story. This 2010 Forester came in with a customer complaint of power steering assist being weak, noise from the power steering when the steering is turned, and also some leakage. Well, the power steering pressure line is actually leaking at the fitting. A while back, this had come in from another shop, and the actual power steering pump was leaking at the pressure hose fitting. There's a little washer, and it was distorted, and there was a bunch of leakage there. They had replaced the pump. Well, I fixed that problem free of charge to the customer, but now they're back with the pressure hose leaking and the pump's fried again. It's really no fault of the power steering pump at all in this case. It was just a low fluid level caused an internal damage to the pump. So now we got to replace the pump, the hoses that come as an assembly. I can't find an aftermarket pump in this case for reman or anything like that. We can't even find the hoses aftermarket. Sometimes in Alaska that's a little bit of an issue, but we even went further, checked WorldPack, no availability for a hose or a pump. So in this case we're replacing the pump with a brand new dealer supplied pump and brand new pressure and return hose kit from the dealer as well. Pretty spendy, over $500 in parts. But we're going to do that real quick. Be sure to use the genuine Subaru ATF HP fluid for servicing and refilling the power steering fluid on this vehicle. Let's talk about this 2010 again. It came in here. One of the problems beyond the power steering pump was the check engine light illuminated. And we found stored codes P0026, P0028. Those are the variable valve timing oil pressure switch fault. And in this case, I believe since it had both those codes, probably was overdue for oil change service, ran low on oil pressure, set those codes, very common. Keep the oil changed. Keep your oil up to level, and you probably won't have that issue. There is an outside chance you can have a bad pressure switch. They're relatively inexpensive to fix. If you have either one of those codes, you might look into replacing your VVT oil pressure switch. This also had a code C0071 steering angle sensor fault, and that's typically just a recalibration of the steering angle position, and we did that quickly on this car. You just need a scan tool with the capability of doing that, and we got that squared away as well. Another common fault code, P0453, fuel tank pressure sensor or Evap control valve fault. Something to watch for, not a big deal. And again, most of my comments here are kind of around the 4-cylinder engines. The V6, that's kind of a different animal in regards to engines. Some of those earlier V6 had their own separate type of issues. We don't see a ton of them up here. They're a little more of a rare bird. One thing that the V6 didn't have was as many head gasket issues. So sometimes there's a trade-off, a little better reliability, a little less fuel mileage. Well, the wheel hubs have gotten a little easier to change, but they still have issues. But what car maker doesn't? Okay, let's look at this 2010 here. You know, it's been really well cared for. 250,000 miles, like I said, and you know, they kept up on it. You know, brakes are something that you're just going to have, and they've taken good care of them. This has new rotors and calipers. Hey, let's talk about wheel bearings. These things were it had so much wheel bearing problems. You're lucky to get 60,000 miles out of a set of wheel bearings. I don't care front, rear, whatever. This guy's got good wheel bearings. Steering and suspension are tight. His brakes are good. Look at the underside of this car. We don't have salt on the roads up here. If this was a Michigan car, it'd be Swiss cheese. There'd be nothing left here, guys. Nothing to talk about. Exhaust system would be gone. The side of the car would be melted away. And that's the worst rust we got here, guys. That's not bad. I mean, it's what you're gonna see. So, okay, they have head gasket issues. They really do. I mean, if they're not leaking, they're gonna be leaking. No, there's a CV joint. You know, CV axle shafts, they're pretty cheap. If your boot's torn like that, well, you just throw a new shaft in there. That's an age-old issue. These things have lots of CV boot problems. But look at these heads. This one's leaking out of the head gasket, both sides. The rear on the driver's side will leak, and the front area on the passenger. It's also got leakage around the oil filter. Hasn't been changed. It's got leakage around the valve covers. You know, it's probably due for timing belt, water pump, cylinder head gaskets. About every 80,000 miles. Well, U-joints are a problem. Generally, you can get 100,000 plus out of them. They're a real pain when they go bad. You got to jerk this whole shaft out of there and just take it to a driveline shop. I don't mess with them. They need to go to a specialty shop for repair. This one looks good. I don't know if we've done something to it in the past or not. I'm super glad to hear they've addressed the head gasket failures on these cars, because quite frankly, I'm just gotten tired of doing them. They're not that much fun. And a lot of guys will say, wow, they're so easy and they're just a blast to do, but they're probably not 250-pound, 50-year-old techs with a bad back saying that. So just so you know. Well, hey, I hope I didn't just talk you out of buying a Subaru if you're looking at one. Be sure to get it checked out by a qualified tech who's just going to go through it and look for the common stuff. You know, you can take 5 seconds and look at the bottom of the motor and tell if there's a head gasket leakage as far as oil or coolant leaks out externally. And there's a few things to look for sure. Oh, I forgot to mention the fuel pumps. Quite common actually, causing a no start issue. Pretty easy to service, being under the back seat. Just make sure it's not full of gas, or when you pull the pump out of the top of the tank under the back seat, you'll get a bunch of gas in your car, and that kind of sucks. But beyond that, you know, fairly reliable vehicle. I think they're cost effective, and you know, we see quite a few of them up here getting 250, 350,000 miles if they're cared for. Alaska's a pretty tough place too. We may not have the rust, but we got some rough road conditions. That tends to beat the suspension right out of cars. All right, hey, I hope this video has been helpful. We do appreciate the likes and subscriptions, and well, even the hate mail, because in this case, I think we're going to generate some, but all in good fun, guys. Hey, we'll catch you next time on the Car Doctor channel. Take care.